Good afternoon, friends. So it's Tuesday afternoon, and honestly, I'm a little hacked. Because here I am at the Hassan II Mosque, which, as you can see, if you look at the little people here, is a monumental edifice. It's the second largest used mosque on this continent. It's the 14th largest mosque in the world, and the sheer amount of money that went into it. Hassan II was, of course, the king preceding the current king, the eldest son of Muhammad V. And he had, with his father's blessing, expressed an interest in building a serious mosque as early as 1961, really. But this wonderful building is a great deal younger than me. Now, really, it does rival amazing buildings like Milan Cathedral that keen viewers of my channel will remember from last year. Although, of course, it is vastly younger. Milan Cathedral, the third largest church in the world, construction began in the late 14th century. Construction began on this in July 1986 and was completed 7 years later in August 1993. So, younger than a great deal of young people. The location is spectacular because it's built on a promontory that sticks out into the Atlantic and is over the Atlantic. There are glass bricks, if you like, in the floor through which you can see the ocean. The monumental prayer hall has a retractable roof. So you can, it's like a sunroof or a moonroof. Press the button, 5 minutes later, it's open to the sky. Incredible. And maybe borderline sacrilegious, but if you see that balcony, I'm assuming I'm going to have to do some research on this, because the muezzin, of course, in the old days, as I mentioned before, would climb the minaret and call the faithful to worship at the 5 times a day, as laid down in the 5 pillars of Islam. That balcony reminds me of nothing so much as Saruman's balcony from Orthanc in Isengard. And sacrilegious footstep. This thing costs, the estimates vary, but it's at the very, very least $400 million American, and as much as 700 million. Now, considering, of course, that Morocco is and has been a medium to low income country, and because of that, spending so much money on such a huge undertaking was seen as somewhat questionable. They opened their coffers for donations, and if anyone who donated would receive a certificate to say they had donated. Now, it seems a little bit harsh to ask the people of Morocco to donate, but of course it's a Muslim country and generosity is laid out in the Quran by the Prophet so many times, including one of the 5 pillars of faith, which is that any given Muslim they're obligated to give 10% of their income for the poor, alms, as it were. Anyway, apparently the least of the contributions was 5 dirham, which is 50 pence. For some people in this city, that's actually quite a lot of money. I mean, for example, there's quite a nice evening, just like stand-up cafe, as it were, which is just a stall, and I go there each evening, and I have a glass of Moroccan mint tea, of course, and a deep-fried, a quasi donut, as it were, just basically fried dough that tastes quite good. That costs 4 dirham. So you can eat for 5 dirham. Anyway, but it has to be said, man, this is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to shut up now, get some shots. Okay, so there is the El Hank Lighthouse. The mosque is nestled on a promontory, as I mentioned, between the El Hank Lighthouse and the port. The main train station is about 20 minutes walk away. Now, the dimensions, just like everything else on this channel, when you get to the truly big stuff, you can't actually see it really on the camera. I mean, that minaret is 210 meters tall and is just huge. I mean, I've got the moon is up there, the crescent moon. Yeah. I'll go into the dimensions a little later on, because what I'm going to do, I was told, I arrived here and was told that tours were closed for the day. You can only enter with a tour. So I think on Friday I finished work and I've got some time between finishing work and moving on to Marrakesh. I'm going to make it here for midday. I might try and make it here for sunrise, because obviously you've got the Atlantic behind, and I think on a beautiful day it would be quite impressive. So, and unfortunately they don't sell tickets online, they don't sell tickets in advance, you just have to rock up. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, comparisons can easily be drawn, because you have this whole like basilica-like massive space that lends the mind to St. Peter's in Rome, this huge area, but also this open space here is used for prayer at key times of the year. Ramadan, for example, which is next month. Ramadan this year begins on the 28th of February and continues until late March. The prayer hall behind the basilica there, as I said, the roof retracts, is brilliant, but 25,000 people can pray inside the building, which is a big swing. That is a small stadium. As I mentioned in my Milan video, Milan Cathedral can squeeze in 40,000 people, but a further 80,000 people can occupy this space, which makes 105,000 people. Whew. That's a spicy meatball of a number. So we are talking a large swathe of humanity, really.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول
So, I am leaving Asur, which is the late afternoon prayers that I had forgotten the name of the other day. Has just started, so I'm going to leave the faithful to it. I'm going to come back on Friday. I finish at 11. I'm going to aim to be here at 11:30 to buy a ticket for the 12 midday tour. I must admit, I'm excited to see inside, because for one thing, it was decreed that it would be exclusively Moroccan building materials. So cedar from the Middle Atlas, marble from Agadir, all the building materials come from this country, and the Moroccans are justifiably proud of that fact. I might go and hop along to the beach there and get some shots of that, and I'll probably merge this part and the Friday part into one and post anything that I record in the intervening time as a separate thing. But yeah, hope you're smiling. So, sitting here silhouetted by the sun, honestly from this angle it kind of reminds me of Mont Saint-Michel and the waves crashing against the base like Storm's End from Game of Thrones, but the Atlantic. A nice place to stop for tea. And I had a momentary thing where I'd regretted not bringing one of my small stash of cigars with me, but honestly it's a bit breezy for that anyway, so I thought better of it. This is beautiful, man. Anyway, I did just have a thought though, in the kick yourself in the head kind of way, where Friday is Friday and midday is Dur, which is the noon prayers. So I don't think there'll be a 12 o'clock tour on Friday at all. I think it'll probably be 1 o'clock, which is still good, still fine. So that's all good. Oh, that's a good wave. Tide's coming in fast. And this is not a surfing beach. It has rocks and reefs everywhere, but it's still pretty cool.